All writing is hard, but coming up with topics to write about is relatively easy to do when you're a working professional with a track record to pull from. But what if you're a student or a young professional just starting out? What can you do to get noticed and stand out? How can you capture the attention of professionals in your desired field and land opportunities? I'm going to show you how you can use LinkedIn's publishing platform to turn the knowledge and experiences that you do have into opportunity. By the time you finish this course, you're going to have a sense of what it takes to publish, get noticed, and launch your career using content. I'm Maya Pope-Chappelle, and I'm a news editor at LinkedIn, curating and writing content for the world of education. Besides working with influential names in this space, I get to work with students, recent grads, and young professionals like you, helping them to showcase what they know in the experiences they've had in a way that unlocks opportunity, whether it's landing an internship or a job, making a valuable connection, all things I've seen students and young professionals accomplish through publishing. I'm going to teach you how to write on winning topics. I'm going to share with you some best practices and advice for building an audience and establishing your professional brand. Ultimately, you should leave this course with the tools you need to write yourself to opportunity. As a college student or recent graduate, you're probably working to build your experience. You're probably networking and simply doing whatever it takes to get a foothold in the industry you want to work in. A great way to do this is by sharing your experiences and your insights using long-form publishing on LinkedIn. Why? Well, I'm going to show you how blogging on the platform helps you to demonstrate your value to a potential employer, reach the professionals you want to reach, and build influence among LinkedIn's more than 450 million professionals worldwide. Let me start by sharing a stat that blew my mind. Did you know that 45% of readers on LinkedIn are manager level and up? You know what this means, right? This means not only can you reach peers and connections with the content you publish, but you could potentially capture the attention of your next boss. That's one of the things that sets LinkedIn's publishing platform apart, your ability to reach a wide swath of professionals and get discovered. LinkedIn has more than 450 million members globally and more than 130 million here in the US. This includes your professors, your peers, executives, entrepreneurs, potential funders of that great startup idea you've got, employers, and much more. What's great about this platform, too, is that users on LinkedIn are highly engaged. This makes it a great sounding board for your ideas. One millennial entrepreneur who publishes about his startup shared with me that writing on LinkedIn helps him engage in conversations both online and off, and stay top of mind among people in his network. You can also use writing on LinkedIn as a way to showcase what you know. By sharing your insights and perspectives, you're able to demonstrate and apply what you're learning or studying in school and hone your writing skills. Take Ty, a young professional who used writing as an undergrad to land his dream job. He wrote about marketing and digital media, but through the lens of a millennial. Because of his posts, he was invited to write columns for other outlets and was recognized as a top voice on LinkedIn and one of Forbes 30 Under 30 for marketing. Like Ty, you can use publishing on LinkedIn to establish credibility and demonstrate your knowledge of an industry, ultimately putting your value on display to a potential employer. As one engineering recruiter shared with me, I like thought leaders from entry level to CEO. In publishing on LinkedIn, you're also able to add personality and context to your profile. Take that internship you had last summer. It's one thing to list it on your LinkedIn profile, but why not write about that experience and what you learned as a long-form post? There might be 1,000 other people who have similar experiences, but when a recruiter is trying to narrow down who to hire, best believe your posts are going to help set you apart from the competition. In blogging on LinkedIn, you're essentially building and shaping your professional brand online, which is important to do early on. I can't stress that enough. Ask yourself, who do I want to be online? What do I want to be known for? What ideas do I bring? What knowledge do I possess that I can share with the world? What conversations do I want to start or be a part of? Now that you know why to publish on LinkedIn, it's time to get started. LinkedIn is a great place to search and discover jobs, to connect and grow your network, and read some of the best industry insights. It's also a great place to manage your reputation and build your professional presence online. One way to do this is through publishing. Blogging on LinkedIn is pretty straightforward. If you're publishing your first post, you'll get an introduction that walks you through the basics, but let me show you how to do it too. Start by signing into LinkedIn, and once you're on your homepage and ready to publish, click on Publish an Article. You'll see a page that looks like this. You want to start by adding a photo that you have the permission to use. This could include a photo you've taken or maybe a stock image you found online through a free photo source like Flickr's Creative Commons. When it comes to photos, you want to avoid things like word clouds or cheesy stock images. You want to instead choose something that fits the topic you're writing about. So for example, I'm going to weigh in on the University of Chicago's letter on academic freedom. So I chose a photo of the campus. I'm going to click this plus button and find the image, which is here, and add it. If you want to change how the image looks, you can click on these options here. I actually like landscape, so I'm going to go with that one. And then you want to add the credit and caption of the photo. Next, you want to add a headline. I'm going to go with a case for safe spaces and trigger warnings on campus. Then you'll add the text of your post in the body section. You can type directly into this section or copy paste from something like Word or Google Docs. If you have an image, video, or other rich media to add, click on this icon and select the form of media. You want to be sure to credit the images you're using. You can also, for the embeds, add a video or perhaps a tweet. As you're typing or adding content to this section, it'll save automatically. This will ensure you don't lose what you're writing. You also have this More button where you can see your drafts or even start a new post. Don't forget to add hashtag student voices in the body of your post at the bottom. This will ensure your post is seen by a LinkedIn editor like myself who can consider promoting it more widely among members on LinkedIn. Once you're ready to publish, just hit the Publish button. You'll be prompted to share what you've written. I strongly encourage you to do this since you'll be able to increase the reach of your post this way. What you've written is also shared with your network on LinkedIn, and the more connections you have, the larger potential reach you can have. Now that I've shown you how to publish, let me show you how it'll look on your profile. Take Kunal, for example. After publishing your first post, you'll get a follow button. This will enable LinkedIn members who follow you to see your shares and published posts in their feed. Once you've published, your most recent post will appear on your LinkedIn profile here. You can also click to see more of your posts or activity. Now that you've got the basics on publishing down, you can begin to write your way to opportunity. We've all been there, just staring at that blank page, watching the cursor blink. It's intimidating. However, I'm going to share with you some ideas that'll help you fill up that blank page. From repurposing class assignments and projects to using the news headlines as inspiration, these ideas are going to help you stand out and get noticed. When you're thinking about what to write on LinkedIn, it's a good idea to start with what you know. Draw from your life experiences, whether it's in the classroom, on the job, an extracurricular activity, or something else you've experienced that you're uniquely positioned to tell. Start by pulling ideas straight from your LinkedIn profile. For example, you know that internship you had that maybe you detailed in a few bullet points on your LinkedIn profile or resume? You probably have a lot more you could share about that experience. Take Alyssa, who is a graduate of Northwestern. She was an editorial and research intern at the Medill Justice Project. This is a great example of something she could have taken and wrote about as a long-form post on LinkedIn. As an undergrad, she wrote about her summer internship at Marie Claire and what she learned from working in a female-dominated work environment. Not only did the post do well on LinkedIn, but it got people talking offline too, including people in senior positions where she worked, who took notice of her. Here's another example from a Harvard MBA graduate who currently works at LinkedIn. He talks in this post about his first year in grad school. And what's great about it is he offers insight into that experience at Harvard and how he applied what he was learning to the real world. When it comes to filling up that blank page, don't overthink it. Pull ideas from your experiences and write what you know. Storytelling is a really powerful tool. It's what makes articles, speeches, marketing campaigns, and a host of other things great. It's what captures an audience and makes them pay attention. That's why first-hand accounts make good fodder for post ideas. This might include obstacles you've overcome, challenges you've faced, or whatever inspires you. In sharing your first-hand account or your real-life story, you'll be able to engage your reader and make them connect with your content. Take this post from DJ, who graduated from San Jose State University. As an undergraduate, she wrote about being a first-generation college student and how it affected her family. She was actually reluctant to publish this post because it was so personal and she talked a lot about the struggles that her family went through. But what was great about it is that she offered a bigger picture of rising tuition costs. It's an excellent example of writing a first-hand account while framing it in a larger topic or issue. She got tons of feedback from this post and a lot of encouragement from readers, especially readers who could relate to her story. She also got some good messages from recruiters. This next example is from Ovo, who is a young entrepreneur. He launched a startup while he was still an undergrad at Temple University, where he since graduated, and the post talks about his struggle to get funding for a startup, something that many startup founders can relate to, but not all of them are really detailing it in the way that he did. In the post, he talks candidly about what he overcame and detailed what he learned from that experience. As you can see from these two examples that I've shown you, personal elements are used to really draw in the audience. So whether it's a challenge or a triumph, use first-hand experiences to tell your story. When you're paying attention to the world around you, you're going to notice some things. It might be a pattern you've observed, a trending topic, or maybe it's a conversation you've had with friends over brunch that got you thinking. It could also be an idea that keeps surfacing in the stuff that you're reading. Use LinkedIn to weigh in on the world around you. This could include writing about trends you've noticed or observations you've made. Take this post from Rebecca, a Babson College graduate. She wrote about fashion trends and how retailers are adapting to the new tastes of millennials. Good luck with that. What's great about this post is it demonstrates her ability to identify an industry trend, use evidence to back up her point, and provide insightful commentary, all things recruiters and potential employers want to see. Here's another example from Kunal, a UC Berkeley undergraduate who used a trending topic on Twitter as fodder for this post, which looks at the TV industry's gender problem. He uses boardroom statistics as well as an analysis of the Fox TV show Empire to make his point. He also has a great headline that invites readers to click. Using trends or observations is a great approach to use, as it builds credibility and shows a potential employer that you're in the know. Another great option when thinking of what to write on LinkedIn are the things you're already writing. Take those papers or writing assignments, for example, and repurpose them as long-form posts on LinkedIn. That way you can make them available to a wider audience and more than just your professor. If you're working on a project, write about it. If you blog or write for other sources like a student newspaper, or perhaps you have a personal blog, consider cross-posting that content onto LinkedIn. You could potentially reach a lot more people and also tap into a different audience. Take this example. It was a class assignment that the author turned into a post on LinkedIn. It's about how companies like Starbucks are using data to spur growth and make strategic business decisions. Not only did it fulfill her assignment for class, but it got a lot of engagement on LinkedIn. Here's another example from a former fashion student who took her senior thesis and wrote about it on LinkedIn. This post is great because it gives insight into the collection she designed for a Hong Kong fashion show and how it all came together. So why reinvent the wheel? Take what you're already writing and repost it on LinkedIn so you can make it available to a much bigger audience. If you're stuck with a blank page and no ideas, go to the headlines. What's being covered in the news? What are the stories people are talking about? What's trending on social media? Take these topics and then ask yourself, is there a news peg I can use to hook readers? How can I incorporate what everyone is talking about into a post? Take this one from Frederick, who is a student at MIT. He used the news of Theranos founder's net worth to talk about the media's obsession with tech wealth and valuations. This one from Emily, a Brandeis University undergrad, used the rise of student protests as a catalyst to talk about what was happening on her campus and how social media was being used to gain widespread support. You want to use current events as a conversation starter or in a way that connects it back to your own major, area of study, or interests. Take this post that was written by Clarissa, a journalism student at the University of Miami. She weighed in on the standards and ethics of news coverage of the San Bernardino shooting. Or this one from Sydney, who studies computer science at Duke and used her experience to talk about the GE CEO's plan to provide coding lessons to all new hires. As an editor, I'm always on the lookout for really great newsy content. If you want to get the attention of a LinkedIn editor and potentially reach more people, be sure to add hashtag student voices at the bottom of your post in the body. We find that our readers really engage with posts that offer unique insights or perspectives on timely topics, particularly in the professional sphere. So if you're looking to get your post promoted beyond just your network, this is a great way to do it. When it comes to blogging or writing on the internet, there are some best practices you want to follow. I'm going to share with you some tips to keep in mind from nailing the headline to choosing a compelling image. Let's start with the one thing that will make or break your post, the headline. The headline is one of the most important things on your post. It's either going to entice someone to click or completely ignore it. Obviously, you'll want them to click and read the words you've taken the time to string together, so let's talk about how to do that. First, you want to make sure that your headline is clear and clickable, not clickbait. A clear and clickable headline uses active words and is conversational in tone. You might even think of it as a tweet. It articulates what a reader can expect when they click on it and makes them curious. I often say you want that factor of, what? Or that's interesting. Clickbait, on the other hand, often misleads or uses sensational words or phrases, so it's best to avoid these types of headlines. You also want to use puns or jokes sparingly. And those listicle headlines, the ones with the numbers in them, 5 ways to do X or 3 things I learned about Y. Try to avoid those too. Here are some examples of some great headlines. All of these titles are enticing and they make me want to click and find out more. Make sure your headline does the same. I suggest coming up with several possible headlines and send them to your friends or colleagues and have them choose their favorite. If you choose a headline that's not performing as well as you intended, don't be afraid to update it or test out new ones. To do this, just update your post and republish it. Besides the headline, the photo is really important. Now, when it comes to photos, this can get tricky. You want to ensure that you're using an image that you have the rights or permission to use. This could include a photo you've taken or maybe a stock image you found online using a free photo source like Flickr's Creative Commons. Avoid word clouds or cheesy stock images. Instead, you want to choose a photo that visually represents the theme or the idea of your post. Just be sure to add the credit. Besides images, you can also add additional rich media to the body of your posts. This could include embedded videos or tweets. For example, if you're talking about a video or a particular tweet, embed it into your posts so that people can see it without clicking away from it, because they might not come back. Use rich media whenever possible to break up the text or to illustrate a point. You can also use bold headings to do this. Another best practice is to always attribute, whether you're quoting, citing, or using images. Hyperlinks, for example, are your friend. I often get asked about how long posts should be. When it comes to word count, our data finds that 800 to 2,000 words is the sweet spot for encouraging engagement. But it's best to write what the content demands instead of what our data suggests. For the tone, keep it conversational and focused on the working world. This doesn't mean just business or career advice. Your post can span industry or interests. It could also be a topic that's more personal or perhaps an op-ed. Just be sure it's relevant to professionals. Finally, write often. Whether you publish once a week or once a month, just be consistent in your publishing. That's how you're going to build an audience and attract followers. It's just like any other social network. It's also the best way to hone your writing skills. There are more than 150,000 posts published each week on LinkedIn. If you want to stand out, make sure you make use of these best practices. It's really up to you to create some buzz for your post. So if you're publishing, you're obviously going to want people to read it and engage with it. One way to do this is by sharing your post with your network on LinkedIn and beyond. After you hit publish, you'll be prompted to share what you've written with a custom message on LinkedIn. Do it, and don't hesitate to reshare it again with your network. And let's not stop at LinkedIn. You'll also want to share it on your other social networks like Twitter and Facebook. This will help you to gain even more exposure for your post. If you're on Twitter, connect your Twitter account to your LinkedIn profile. That way, whenever someone tweets out your post from LinkedIn, your handle will be included in the tweet. It's also a great way to track the conversation on Twitter. To do this, go to your privacy and settings part of your account and select third parties. From there, just click Twitter settings. I've already added my account, so your settings may look slightly different. You'll just need to click the add option to connect yours. To share something with your network, whether it's an update, an article, or an image, just click here from your home page. As an example, I'm going to share this post written by the U.S. Secretary of Education. I'll copy and paste the link to the post here, and I'm just going to delete the link once it populates. I want to include the secretary in my share, so I'm just going to @ him. So I'm going to write @John King pens an open letter to ITT students. You can also add hashtags to join an existing conversation or to start your own. For this, I'm going to add #ITTTech. Once you're done, just click share. Remember, it's up to you to generate your own buzz. The more you share, the bigger impact you can have. Want to find out how your post is performing? All you have to do is to start from your LinkedIn profile page and scroll down to your post. Click on the See More Posts option, and then once you're there, click the stats icon. From here, you'll be able to see the number of views, comments, and likes, as well as who's engaging with your post. You can use this information to gauge how your post is doing, as well as how you might approach your next post. As you publish more and more, you want to keep an eye out on which posts are doing well and the ones that aren't. This could offer clues on what types of headlines work best, what topics really get people engaged, and even how you could improve. Don't be discouraged if just a handful of people read your very first post. Building an audience takes time, and more importantly, reaching the right audience is key. So use the stats as a clue to tap into that audience, connect, and spark conversation. I've traveled to several colleges and universities across the country, and I've worked with many students to bring their voices to LinkedIn. Along the way, I've heard some common concerns about publishing, some which you may have too. I want to share with you some of the most common concerns I've heard, from being afraid to publish to how people might receive it. Whatever it might be, these concerns are holding you back, and I want to share with you some tips on how you might overcome them. One of the things I hear the most is the fear of publishing. You just can't bring yourself to hit that publish button. I get it. I understand. Putting yourself out there is scary. You might think, what if someone doesn't like what I write? Or what if I make a mistake? These are all valid concerns, but you don't have to allow your fear to keep you from putting your ideas out into the world. Sure, some may disagree or challenge your point of view, but that's okay. You might be introduced to a new viewpoint or get inspired to write something else. Bottom line, overcoming that fear starts with hitting publish. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. If you haven't published yet, I encourage you to use the writing ideas and tips I shared and add publishing to your to-do list. You'll find that once you do it, the next time will be easier and the time after that too. Another concern I've heard is, what if an employer or company disagrees with my point of view? That might be the case, but having a clear point of view is a great thing. Companies want to hire people who can think critically and come up with creative solutions. Sure, you may have detractors, but that's okay. As one MBA student put it, in the marketplace of ideas, which are online communities, well-reasoned opinion reigns supreme in engaging content. As long as you're not defaming anyone or writing anything incendiary, you'll be okay. Make sure that you have the evidence to back up your claims or opinions, and you should be in the clear. A good rule of thumb, if you're questioning the appropriateness of what you're writing about, maybe choose another topic. It helps to have a clear goal and a focus in mind when you write. Ask yourself, who am I trying to reach? What is the point I'm trying to make? Do I have evidence to back up this viewpoint? What new insights can I bring as a young professional or as a student to this post? This will help you to focus it and ensure it doesn't run afoul with employers. Tied to this is another common concern I've heard, the fear of damaging your brand. If you think your post touches on a third-rail topic, I suggest running a draft by a close friend or colleague. Generally, you want to try and focus on topics within the professional sphere or on topics that would appeal to other students or professionals. Now, this doesn't mean you're restricted to writing about just business or career topics. Personal experiences, news events, and the stuff that happens outside of the workplace is good too. Ultimately, if you think it might damage your brand, it's probably best to avoid it and not publish it. I don't work in a sexy field. This is another phrase I hear from students all the time about why they don't publish on LinkedIn. But consider this. The platform has more than 450 million professionals worldwide. These members work in a variety of fields: HR, policy, information security, politics, etc., etc., etc. What I'm saying is, there's an audience in the industry or field that you want to work in or that you want to reach. As one LinkedIn campus editor pointed out, if you consider your LinkedIn to be your online resume, consider your posts to be your cover letters. Because posts live on your LinkedIn profile, which tells your professional story, any recruiter, potential employer, and others will see what you're writing. And if it fits your interests or the industry you want to go into, that's a win. I often get tons of questions about comments. Responding to commenters is important, and it's a great way to stoke a conversation, even if they may challenge your point of view. In fact, your next post might even come out of this feedback. You'll also have readers for life if people feel like you're listening to them. That said, while LinkedIn is known for having great engagement, it is a social network, which comes with trolls. These trolls aren't like the ones you'll find in other places, but they do exist. If you see spam, hateful messages, or comments that aren't nice, report them by clicking the ellipsis button. When it comes to trolls, I advise you not to respond or engage. Like any skill, writing and publishing for an audience takes practice. But do it, it'll become a lot easier. As part of our effort to bring even more student voices to LinkedIn's publishing platform, we've created a hub for you to learn more about publishing on LinkedIn. It's our student publishing site. Check it out by going to students.linkedin.com/student-publishing. Once you're on the site, you'll be able to read testimonials from students and recent grads who have published. You'll also be able to get tips and guidelines and explore different options to write about. You can also explore monthly topics and much, much more. You can also learn more about our Campus Editor program, which is comprised of college students helping to bring student voices and perspectives to LinkedIn's members worldwide. Check to see if there's a student on your campus who can help you come up with ideas to write, help shape your content, and offer other tips. You can also learn more about the program there and get information on how to apply. For even more resources, check out students.linkedin.com, where you can find information about our LinkedIn Students app. This app helps you to explore and discover career paths based on the college you're attending and the major you're pursuing. You can also search for jobs, get profile and interviewing tips, and a lot more. You could also access the student publishing site from this page, here at the bottom. If you ever get stuck or have a question about any part of LinkedIn, visit our help page, which is linkedin.com/help. Now that you know where to go for the information you need, get out there, explore, and start the path to your career. Before you start publishing, you're going to need to set up a profile on LinkedIn. Think of it as your professional story. It should reflect your experiences, your achievements, and your future goals. I'm going to walk you through some ways to improve your profile and attract opportunity. Start with a professional photo. Members who include a profile photo get 21 times more profile views and up to 36 times more messages. You don't need to enlist a professional photographer, although that would be nice. Just make sure it's a clear, good quality photo. You can even use your mobile camera in front of a plain background. The things you want to avoid: low quality or fuzzy photos, or any cropped images. Next, list your current position. You want to make sure your profile is up to date and includes your title, company name, and time period. Members with up-to-date positions are discovered up to 18 times more in searches by members and recruiters. If you're just entering the workforce, it's critical to include your education, which is not only important to potential employers, but it can also help reconnect you with other students and alums. Members who have an education on their profile are up to 17 times more likely to be found by recruiters. If you're currently in transition, rather than writing unemployed, add a title similar to what you want to pursue. So for example, write marketing major open to marketing internships or experienced photographer looking for freelance gigs. Also, you want to be sure to show the year in the date field. So for example, 2016 to present. One way recruiters look for potential candidates is by searching for relevant skills. So you want to make sure that you maintain a list of relevant skills. This will help others understand your strengths and match you with the right opportunities. Members with 5 or more skills listed are messaged up to 33 times more by recruiters and other LinkedIn members and receive up to 17 times more profile views. One tip: check that your skills are listed in the order of the strengths you want to be known for. LinkedIn will do the rest by targeting endorsers for the top skills you've prioritized. The more endorsements you have for your skills, the higher you'll rank in search results. Location, location, location. More than 30% of recruiters will use advanced search based on location. So the more details you have, the more likely you'll be found and connected to your next opportunity. Finally, focus on the summary. This tends to be the hardest part of your profile, but it's really your opportunity to summarize your experience and your goals. You want to use this section to tell the story of who you are, your experience, the types of things you're interested in, and goals you would like to achieve. Try to use 40 words or more to make your profile more likely to turn up in a future employer's search. A good tip: use keywords and skills featured in desirable job descriptions for your field. Oh, and don't be shy to add some personality. Nearly 40% of recruiters are looking for this. I've covered the most important sections, but you can also add things like honors and awards, organizations you're a part of, and volunteer experiences. Making small changes to reflect where you are now will increase your visibility and give recruiters and potential employers and connections more insight into who you are and what you do. Keeping your profile up to date is key to not missing your next opportunity. For more tips on how to rock your profile and stand out to recruiters, visit students.linkedin.com.